Good day, good folks. You are listening to Talk That Keeps You Woke. And with your awakening, we hope that you will take in the information and knowledge we provide. So make sure you like and subscribe while you hop on this ride as we inform, persuade, entertain, and engage in discussion. Welcome to Pod Liquor Podcast, which is knowledge to feed your soul. I may go one after Pod Liquor. I go by Dr. A, the Inquisitive One, a great debater, Mr. Slow Talker, a rhetorician, and an all-around nice guy, and a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. The other half of Pod Liquor is my home, my dear friend for more than 30 years, Reggie Jackson Esquire, the legal one, Mrs. Creativity, never obnoxious, the gifted one, a terrific lady, and a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Yo, we're back. It's been a minute. Thank y'all for being patient and waiting for us. So, to my partner, how was your past 2 weeks?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. I am well. My 2 weeks were good. This last week I spent, it's travel baseball season. And we just came back from Boston, Massachusetts with a big fat goose egg because we lost all 3 of our games. But it was a fun weekend. We got to
Who are you
go to
talking about? Who lost?
my son Justin's travel baseball team, DC Dynasty, 16U. We had 3 games in Boston, Massachusetts, and we lost all 3. So it was a long way to drive, about 9 hours there and 9 hours back. Long way to go for a big goose egg, but it was fun. How was your week, Dr. A? Your 2 weeks?
Productive, just staying in the gym, trying to stay healthy. That's all. And I'm teaching some online courses, some classes. So that's just it. Thank y'all for listening to Pod Liquor Podcast, and those of y'all who ride with us every week. No, we start our show off with the wow for the week, and that stands for
Words of wisdom.
all right. So our wow for the week is it's the first time for us. His name is Ralph Ellison. If the words has the potency to revive and make us free, it has also the power to blind, imprison, and destroy. I think Brother Ellison is basically saying words are powerful. Messages that we hear of love or messages that we hear of hate, they're both powerful and words can move. So we have to watch what we say and how we say it. We have to learn how to cheer people up and not always bring people down. You have to be careful with the choice. Being a communicator, one of the things we always say, you cannot put the toothpaste back in to the toothpaste holder. The tube, right. Can't put it back into the tube. What's is said is already out, especially today. In social media, you can put things out and you can try to bring it back. I know Apple just sent out something where you can text somebody and then you can take it back and you can erase it from their side too, so they'll never catch it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, people like that make mistakes. I like it when I make a grammatical error. I don't send any hate messages like that. So yeah, if the words has the potency to revive and make us free, it has also the power to blind, imprison, and destroy. What say you?
I agree wholeheartedly. And that was exactly what my takeaway was from these words of wisdom. I said the same thing. Words are powerful. And Ralph Ellison, as a noted author, he would know. I remember reading his book, The Invisible Man. And I think authors like him respect words and they realize that words should be chosen carefully. Life and death are in the power of the tongue, and we should choose to speak life into other people instead of choosing to speak death into other people. And so I think that that is exactly what Ralph Ellison is trying to tell us. Exactly what you said, Dr. A. Words are very, very powerful, and these are indeed words of wisdom.
Yeah, so words of wisdoms. If the word has the potency to revive and make us free, it has also the power to blind, imprison, and destroy. All right. So as we let us move on. What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Oh, what's going on? So Thursday night was something unspecial. No disrespect to the gentlemen that were on stage, but we had. It was almost like you have an exam. You know, as a teacher, you put out an assignment and you find out like people really weren't prepared for the assignment. And then another way to look at it is you kind of know your students. You one. So in this case, the presidential debate, Donald Trump hadn't changed at all.
So when you say you know your students, you mean like you know what to expect
Yeah, to
from
expect. So,
from
yeah, I
particular
knew
students
Donald Trump was going to come out and with
and lie.
these lies and it's so insulting to people. Like he just thinks that, and we're going to get to Biden because this is what it's about. But Donald Trump thinks that he is so smart that everybody is just going to believe what he says. Because he just sits up there. If you just notice him, everything this man does is the best ever.
Yes, or the
You
worst ever.
it's the
Yeah,
best ever. Like, oh yeah, or everybody else is the worst
the
ever.
worst ever. Right.
Like, yeah. Now I've read the article where they had like 150 something presidential scholars vote on
Hmm.
the best to worst president, and Donald Trump was the worst president. I didn't see one article putting him as the best president ever. Not one. But
But you can't tell him that.
no, not at all. But let's get to what we really want to talk about is Biden's debate performance. I, I'm gonna say this. I actually felt bad for President Biden, not as the president, just as an older guy.
Hmm.
And I just thought the way he was moving out there, he shouldn't have been on that stage. Um, it was one night, like some people say, but if you watch the debate, you know how feeble he looked. And if he was sick, because as I don't know about you, as I get older, when I get sick, it takes a longer time to get rid of the cold that
Yeah,
we have. Like when you're younger, it seemed like that
you
cold
bounce
out
back.
2 or 3 days. Now, like I can carry a cold for 2 weeks
Right.
and and nurse it.
And
And
that's why we have to be more careful with trying to avoid getting sick.
well, that's true, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying if they knew he was sick, maybe they shouldn't have put him out there on stage.
But was he sick though? Did they say he was sick?
That's I heard that he has some sort of cold, but then as you get older, your memory fades. And
But did you see him on the campaign trail the next day?
yeah, but that's the next day. So that means he can go after, I'm sure after everybody told him close to him, like, yeah, it wasn't good. You got to bounce back from that. Like, you got to be, and I'm sure if he looked at it, he said, damn, you
No,
know.
but to me, the biggest difference, like you said, the way he moved, he didn't seem to have a lot of energy during the debate, but then the next day he seemed more energetic. During the debate, he seemed his voice was like really hoarse and like strained, like he could be almost like he couldn't catch his breath. And then the next day, he was very clear and loud and energetic with his voice. And I was like, one night made all that difference. So something was clearly going on during the debate for real. So I don't know if he was sick, like you
Look,
said, or
I would
what.
say this: after that debate, they told him, and if he watched any of it, he saw it. So the next day, he had to come out and be super energetic. He had to, because if he was feeble again, they would say, "Hey, take him off the campaign trail."
But
He
why
had.
could so why couldn't they just do that before the debate? Whatever they did, whether it was rest or sleep or what, tea
They
and lemon
probably
and
thought
honey.
he was. They probably thought he was all right. You know, he probably answers all the questions. He says, I'm good. And he went out there, performed. I'm telling you, what he did the next day was a bounce back because he had to paint a different picture after that performance the night before. That's all that was. That's where that energy came from. I have to show these people I'm not weak because
But
everybody,
Shantae, it's too late now. That's okay, but
it's not too late because he can have another debate. Like that's one night, you know. He ain't.
I agree. I mean, here's the thing. I agree with everybody who's saying that it was painful to watch and it just wasn't his best performance. I agree with all of that. Like his
Yeah,
voice was not,
it,
he didn't sound powerful. He
it
didn't sound
wasn't
like
State of the Union, Joe.
right. And I think he scored a lot of points during the State of the Union. So I agree with all of that. But my point is I don't think this really moved the needle one way or the other because me personally, I only watch honestly, and I'm just gonna be honest about it, kind of for like I hate to say it, but like almost like entertainment purposes. Because I think like if you were a Trump supporter before this, you were a Trump supporter after this debate. If you were a Biden supporter before this debate, you were a Biden supporter after the debate. And if you are someone who was undecided, in my opinion, I don't want to offend anyone, but you basically brain dead. I mean that's the thing. If you I don't know how you are undecided between these two candidates. Most people will say, I would prefer someone else. I wish we had other nominees.
So
I
that's
wish we had
why they
someone.
would be undecided.
Republicans might say, I wish we had someone other than Trump. Democrats might say, I wish we had someone other than Biden. But
Those
for
are
people,
undecided.
no, I don't think so. This is what I'm saying to you. Because those people, if you know a little bit about politics, you know that at this late stage in the game, the election is in November. There's not nobody else is coming. This
That's
is it.
not true.
This is it. We went through the process.
That's not true.
Chances are it's possible, but what I'm saying, it's very, very, very unlikely.
We
This
don't know that. And I'll say
name me another time in
okay,
history.
name me another time we had presidents this old.
Name me another time
Name
in
me
history.
another time
No,
in
listen to what I'm telling you though. Name me another time in history when this late in the game, a couple of months before the election, the nominees were switched out after the primaries.
Kim. Name me another time in history where we had a presidential candidate that was running that was
I
able.
will answer your question after you answer mine.
I said no, we haven't. And
Never. Right.
name me another time where we had an 82-year-old candidate.
But this is the never. But what I'm saying to you is what I'm saying to you is that for those of us who are realistic about where we are, and these are the two nominees, you at this point have already made a clear choice. It's a clear choice between. I don't understand how if you are realistic about these are the two nominees and nobody else is coming, you should already know by now. It's not like, oh my God, I can't decide who. I just really can't decide. I don't know. I'm
Not
just
that you can't decide. There are other candidates. First, there are other candidates that are on the ballot.
the point that I'm trying to make though, Shantae, is that I just don't think this debate moved the needle one way or the other for anyone. That's what I'm saying.
So
Like
that's not the the people they poll, right? I think
polls are for strippers. Go
well,
ahead.
well, if you say this, then you knock it down because the people they poll agree with you. They agree that
Oh,
they thought that, well, put it this way. They agree that Trump is a perpetual liar. They said that his lies were obvious and on stage, and they don't know who he thinks he's fooling. But they also thought that Biden was good on the policies, but he appeared to be weak. So some people say a vote for Biden is a vote for Kamala Harris. That's the only reason why I will vote for Joe Biden, because of Kamala Harris. I'm being honest with you, because I don't think this brother going to finish his term out. I think that not because
oh, you're okay. Let me ask you this: if Vice President Kamala Harris was not on the ticket and someone else was, no, that's not what I mean. What I mean is,
if
yeah,
If
let's say,
Mitt
yeah.
Romney was on the ticket against Joe Biden, I would be more likely to vote for Mitt Romney than Joe Biden.
Okay, that's the question I was trying to get to. Something.
But let me say this. Sometimes I vote. You got to look at the down ticket. I just think, no offense to Biden, debating is hard. Running a country is super hard. I just think at 82, what he looked like last night is, from all the work they're putting him through. Like, he's still an 82-year-old man in the
No,
job at the
okay,
job.
that's true. But let me go back to
Can I finish?
oh, I thought you were
No,
finished.
he's still an 82-year-old man, and the job as president is not easy. It is a grueling schedule that you have to be up around the clock, and I don't think he's ready for that. So
Okay, I
my
don't
reason to stay to vote with him is because I think he has a vice presidential candidate, vice president that's excellent, and I think that she would do a great job at the helm.
okay, number one, let me address your issue of him being feeble. Shantae, you know he was just the president, right? For the first term. And
Yeah.
he did it with aplomb and he accomplished a lot during that term. So for you to say that you're concerned about whether or not he can do that is it doesn't make sense when he's proven to you that he can do it. And may I add that it's not just the president. He has a whole cabinet and he has a whole team of people in his administration.
Thank you for women explaining that. Okay, so like I didn't know that. So let me say, do
No,
you,
but I'm
do
just, so you act
you
like, wait a minute, you act like I didn't know that he was 82 years old. And you explained that.
no, I didn't act like he. I said why I think. That's
And I'm
what I
telling
said.
you why I think
No,
that
you
the
was
age
trying to
is not.
school me. You
No,
was trying to school
no.
me. It's okay,
I
but
was
I'm
just
okay with that. I'm
no,
okay
I
with
was just raising an issue to let you know that he's not working by himself.
that.
Regardless of who the president is, they have a whole cabinet and a whole administration that
Thank
is
you for telling me
implementing.
that.
No,
Thank
but
you for telling me
I
that.
think people forget that. I'm not trying to
Can, let me ask you a quick question. This is a
insult
quick
your
question. You
intelligence.
can go on a quick question. Do you watch CNN, MSNBC like on a regular basis?
No.
Okay, I do. There have been words out there about Biden even before the State of Union. That's why they were surprised he did what he did at the State of Union. That the job is becoming a little bit too much for him. And all they're saying is just from a health standpoint. He was 78 when he became president, right? And it doesn't matter the age. So let me stop saying the age. Forget about the age, because you could be 71 and in worse shape than Joe Biden is. I've seen that already. What I'm particularly saying is that is a demanding, stressful job. And I do know he has a cabinet and a team that's going to help him run the country. But I'm saying, looking at him is a symbol of the United States. And if
And
he
you
look,
think Trump looked good?
I think Trump's look bigger. I think he lies, but I think he don't look like he out of shape. I don't think he
He
appears to
doesn't look
be.
like he's out of shape when he can't even button his suit jacket.
Well, I don't mean like maybe I'm talking more about conditioning. He seems like he can survive 4 years. But I'm not here promoting Donald Trump. I'm just saying, if you're going to ask me to look at both men on stage, forget being president or not. One looks healthier than the other one as far as with vigor and energy. That's all I'm saying. I'm not.
Have you ever seen, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen Trump ride a bicycle?
I did, but a while ago.
I have never seen him ride a bicycle, but
I'm not talking about Trump because I'm not advocating for him. Right? Except to say he had more energy on stage.
Okay.
But to me, he blew a great time because he could have, instead of, and this is because I teach debating, instead of sitting up there talking about your record and telling all these lies and refusing to ask questions, I would have been like, my
refusing
God.
to answer questions?
He refused to answer questions. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I would have said, thank you. I would have took my time to say, oh my God, can you see him? I would have been commenting on that.
I'm surprised he didn't do that.
Because he's so full of, let me talk about me, not him, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I was expecting that.
What I got upset at Joe Biden for from the beginning, I kept telling Felicia this. I said, why is he trying to compare his record to Trump, who's a liar? I said, you should just pick out, he did sometimes, but not all the time. I said, you should just pick apart his lies. This is what happened.
I disagree.
I'm telling you, that's how you win debates. And when hold on, when I got finished, Abby Phillips, I forgot the white, not Joy Meadow, the other white lady that was sitting next to him. They both said
Dana Dash. What's her name?
Yeah, I think that's her name. And Abby Phillips laid it out. Because I know Trump's lies to a T. Why didn't Biden's team be prepared? Was prepared to give him that information so he could knock down all his fraudulent statements.
Well, to me, that's the job of the moderator. Because here's the thing. No. I think that your approach, I think your suggested approach to knock down all of Trump's lies is a valid approach. However, I don't think that is the most effective approach under the circumstances, because Trump, everybody knows that Trump is a liar, and Trump tells so many lies. You can't take up all of your time to debunk every lie that he tells, because then you won't be able to get the message out. I think when you have these debates, the objective is to drive home your message to the people and remind them of what you have accomplished and what you plan to continue to accomplish.
In his message,
you don't have time to be trying to debunk every lie that he does.
Let me say something. I teach debate, and I'm gonna tell you, one of the biggest things to win debates is debunking arguments. So what I'm saying, in the same time, his message should have been, do you want to vote for a liar and a felon, or do you want to vote for me with my record? That's the message. And to me, all he had to do is keep debunking his lies and letting folks know where they can go find the actual facts.
Okay, I understand that you teach debate, but there is a difference between debunking someone's argument versus knocking down every lie. You can't win argument. You can't win a debate when people are telling lies. When people have positions based on facts, like I said, you can have everybody can have a different opinion and a different argument. But you have to be dealing with the same facts. And Trump just lies. He just tells lies. And so for you to sit up there and go, well, no, actually, there weren't 15 million people that came across the border. Actually, it was, you know what I'm saying, like 5 million. You would be all day doing that instead of driving home your points.
No,
You see what I'm saying?
you can
It's not
drive
like
your
Trump.
points at the same time, Kim. You can drive home your points at the same time. You don't have to.
Shante, that don't, but you don't have all day. You only have
Yeah,
like a
you
couple of
do.
minutes.
Just like Abby Phillips said, everybody knew he was going to lie. So
Right. So why you waste your time trying to
because why are you trying to outdo a liar? Like, no, this is what he says he did this, but I did this. We already know what you did, but you can say what you did after you tell the lie. You can say, this is what happened on the border. This is a lie. This is what I did. Boom. At the same time, I thought that Biden did too much of trying to put his record against Trump record. But I agree with your initial statement. I don't know how much it moved the needle. If I'm a Trump supporter, because you said if you're a Trump supporter, you're staying with Trump. If you're buying, you're buying. You said, I don't understand why people would be undecided. I do, right? But my understanding, like I said, to me, what makes me still vote for Biden, and I said this is the third time, is Kamala Harris.
Okay, but this is what I wanted. This is actually the question that I wanted to ask you initially about that. Who 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 on that ticket would make you vote for Trump instead? That's my thing. Who could there be on that ticket with Joe Biden that would make you say, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and vote for Trump because I can't do this.
No, but you can vote for other.
I'm asking you.
I keep
That's the
telling you,
question.
I would never vote for Donald Trump.
That's my point.
Right.
That's the point that I was trying to make.
That's me.
You changed the scenario by saying if it was Mitt Romney, who's like a sort of middle of the road Republican.
That's me. That's you. I know you know we live in a country that people still vote for this man, no matter if he's lying or not.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If you were Trump, before you're gonna be Trump after the debate.
Right.
There's really
What's scary is now the folks who are Biden is thinking like,
no.
okay. Now, I'm not saying they voting for Trump. I'm saying they might sit it out. I'm not going to vote for Trump, but a no vote is not good for Biden, right?
A no vote is a Trump vote. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest.
No, because I can't say that because you ain't. Well, you're saying a no Biden, a Biden person that's not voting.
No, any person. Well,
no, because a Trump person that's going to vote for Trump that decided I ain't voting, that's taking away his votes. If they look at him and they say he's up to the same garble stuff, he's still lying, he hasn't changed over the 4 years that he was gone for president, it's still the same thing. And
I don't think there are any, I really don't think that there are any staunch Trump supporters who are going to sit it out. And there are no staunch Biden supporters who are going to sit it out. The people who are going to sit it out, I think, are the most of the electorate, which are people who just normally don't participate, non-voters. Those are the only people I see sitting this election out. Now, I do know some
you use
Democrats,
the word staunch, though.
like
everybody isn't a staunch voter. Some people like, I don't like Trump, but I like his policies, so I'm gonna vote for him.
No, I'm talking about staunch supporters. Like
right, but you're using the word staunch supporters. They're just regular supporters. That's not staunch. That don't really love Trump. They're just Republicans, and they're gonna vote the Republican ticket. And this year they could be like, I'm gonna sit this one out because I don't want to vote for him.
Okay, well, I really don't. I honestly, I don't understand people who normally vote and who participate in the democratic process, but who say, I'm not voting in this election for the president because I just don't like either candidate this time around. I honestly don't understand those people, because what are you accomplishing by doing that? And those people who decide to do that, I don't understand why they feel the need to tell everybody. I'm like, if that's what you're going to do, then just going to do it. Like I had this conversation with my nephew who is like, well, I'm definitely not voting for Trump and I just can't support Biden because of Gaza or whatever. And
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
did
like,
a lot of
okay,
people like
so yeah, and that's what I honestly don't understand. Like I'm trying to understand these people's position, but I really don't. At the end of the day, I don't get it from a strategic uh, perspective because I'm like, who are you? I guess this is a protest vote, and I'm like, who are you hurting? Like, how are you accomplishing anything by sitting it out? I don't. I
Jim,
honestly don't
people,
get it.
they have, they have the right to set it out. So let me tell you why.
Right.
I don't like what Biden is doing to Palestine. I don't. A lot of people don't. They don't
Right.
want him there because of that. They don't
Right.
want to vote for him because that's evil. A vote for Biden is still a vote to the death of Palestine people.
I get that,
Right.
but do
So
people
here's the reason
understand
why
that?
they're saying I'm not going to
No,
vote with
I
this guy.
understand that. I
Okay.
honestly do. I
Okay.
honestly do, and I don't fault anyone for having that position. But my question is do people understand that this is U.S. foreign policy? So regardless of who's sitting in that seat, you get the exact same result.
No,
Like, do people
not
really?
no,
Yes, you do.
no, because
Yes, you do.
you are the
Yes, you
commander in
do.
chief. You have the last word. You are the commander in chief. You can say, pull away, don't give Israel support. You can say that you are you're not, like I said, you are in charge. So if I'm there, I would have been saying, yo, Israel, if y'all don't pull out the violence, this is what we doing. We pulling away. And he's not doing that. He's sitting up there still saying,
Shante, you know that is you know that is diametrically opposed to U.S. foreign policy.
who?
That's diametrically opposed to U.S. foreign policy. That would be just like the United States saying, we are no longer so like we don't support England. You know, it's just it's a violation of U.S. foreign
That's
policy.
why they only
Like we support
That's why they
Israel,
never would vote for me. They wouldn't vote for me because
but
I'm diametrically opposed to that.
right, but do you understand what? Like, I don't understand why people don't get that, regardless of
How
who
does,
is
how
sitting.
does, let me ask you a question. How does Trump hurt you and your husband when he's in office? A lot of
What?
people say he's better for you. He's better for you and Big Ryan if he's in office.
What? No,
Yes, they would say
no,
that. Yes,
no.
he
Because here's the
benefits
thing.
people.
That's what. Even if that's what people think, that's not what I think. And so my one vote is going to go the way I think.
But
And I think
what do you
that
think
Trump
about
is
Trump?
not better for me
Why
if
not?
he's in office.
Why not? Why not?
I don't because of all the reasons that I ran down before.
Go ahead.
He's a racist.
There you go. Stop right there. There you
He's
go.
stupid. He
Well,
killed 1 million people because he denied the severity of the pandemic. He wanted to execute
I'm not.
6 young teenagers and accuse them of
Okay, okay.
murdering and raping a
I'm
woman in
glad you're
Central Park
saying
when
that.
they were innocent.
Hold on.
He still
Can you
has not
stop? Can
apologized
you
for that.
stop? Can you stop?
Well, it's a long list. Yeah,
Right. I don't want you to go down the whole list.
right.
But the reason why you're picking him has nothing to do with politics.
The reason why I'm picking who?
The reason why you're not picking Trump has not a lot to do with politics. It has to do with the person he
No,
is.
it has to do with politics as well. Trump is the reason why we've had the overturning of Roe v. Wade and all of our rights are being eroded bit by bit. He's the reason why we have the Supreme Court that we've had that has done that.
Roe v. Wade, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And a long list of other things. He's the reason why the affirmative action was overturned.
The statements you just said,
All
right?
of that's public policy. Go ahead.
What I'm trying to compare to is a lot of people do not pick Trump because of the person he is, right? How can somebody with his character, with his record, be in office? The fact that he's a convicted felon and gets to run for president is crazy in itself,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
He lies. He's racist. All of those things that you were saying is true. I don't want him in office. He should never be in office. He shouldn't be on the ballot. A lot of people are opposed to Joe Biden because of what's going on in Palestine. because of the genocide in Palestine. And they can't turn a blind eye to that. I'm not putting my vote next to a man who is for that, period. I'm telling you this. I'm in school. I hear kids say it. I hear other faculty members say it. So that's what they're saying. So you're saying like, okay, he's doing that. Just like white folks on the Trump side. I understand that he's racist, but I still like his policies. You're saying, yeah, I understand that he's letting genocide happen in Palestine, but he's not Trump. That's basically what you're saying. Am I right or wrong?
Not. No, okay. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. Now, that's not to say that that may be what. That's not to say. That's not to say that that's not what other people are saying. That's not what I'm saying. So there's okay. Let me ask you this: did you not benefit from Biden's policy that allowed people to have their student loan debt?
Yes, I did. I did benefit from that.
Okay. So is that not a good policy that has benefited you and other Black people? Yeah. That's one. Okay. Biden's administration also passed the Infrastructure and Jobs Act. There's billions of dollars of funds that are going into improving the infrastructure of states around this country. Is that not a good policy?
What are you trying to prove?
The point that I'm saying to you is you make it seem as if this is an issue of who I like and who I don't like as a person. No, it's about policy.
No, it's not that. I'm trying to say, you saying I don't understand how people can be undecided and have and don't have the choice to pick for Biden. And I'm telling you, these are the reasons why. That's simply all I'm telling you. There are a lot of people that don't want to vote for him because they don't like him. That's all I'm saying.
I do understand that, but okay. But here's the thing. For people who say, I can't support what Biden is doing, but Trump is a horrible person that I don't want to see in office. You have to, at some point, you got to make a choice. And it really is, okay, do I hate Biden that much that I'm willing to have Trump in office possibly? Because that's what it means. If you're a Biden supporter and you're going to sit this one out, that's a real possibility, is that Trump would be reelected. And so if that's what people are okay with, that's what I'm saying. Biden, there is a choice here to make.
What you're indicating when you say that is that people who voted for Trump are still going to vote for Trump. And there have been several reports that a lot of people have Trump fatigue, that were Trump supporters. There's different reports that say, I'm not voting for him.
Okay, but see, the number one is you can't.
And some people don't want to stick their right to vote for a person like Trump, who is villainous and evil, or like Biden, who you find out like, wow, look what happened in Palestine, and I voted for him, right? So they rather not vote at all. That's what I'm saying. And they have the right to think that way.
I agree with you. I said that. I totally get that. That's, and my only thing is, thank God they only got one vote, just like everybody else. And that's just one vote that would be lost. That's all I can say. So God be with us.
Until we meet again.
Let us move on.
All right. The denouncing of Black Greek letter organizations.
Wow. I see you got the Divine Nine up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Divine Nine. Alpha Phi Alpha, Alpha Kappa Alpha, Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Psi Phi, Delta Sigma Theta, Phi Beta Sigma.
Zeta Phi Beta Sigma.
Zeta Phi Beta Sigma Gamma Rho, and Iota Phi Theta.
Yeah, Iota was founded at Morgan State. But AKA Omega, Delta, Sigma and Zeta. I don't know where Sigma Gamma Rho was found. Maybe at Howard too, but all of them were at Howard.
Yes.
Alphas, Kappas, and Iotas were not found at Howard.
I just realized that the headquarters of Alpha Phi Alpha is in Annapolis, Maryland. Did you know that? Well, of course you know that. Maybe you don't know that. I don't know.
They moved?
Well, that's what I thought.
They're in Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, that's what, did I say? Annapolis Women Headquarters
Annapolis.
of Alpha.
I was about to say, that's something I didn't know.
I thought I read that. Hold on.
They're on Charles Street in Baltimore.
Okay.
Some of the organizations are is any in Chicago?
Of which one you're talking about?
So I remember when I was selling the records, I had called every organization except IOTA.
Okay, you're right. Of course, you're right. The headquarters of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated are located in Baltimore, Maryland, on Paul Street.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated headquarters.
Yeah, I meant to say Paul Street, not Charles Street. All right. So, what's the situation here? We had a little warm-up discussion about this. I'm a recent member of the Divine Nine, but I'm a dedicated member. I'm a financial member.
I know that's right.
And I'm very involved with the fraternity. I hear the rumblings about denouncing in religion, like there's a conflict, a spiritual conflict, I guess. Some members, former members, I should say, have with Greek letter organizations calling them evil. Now, I don't like the word evil, but there have been some evil things done to, especially back in the day, to pledgees, right? So if they were denouncing the organizations because of that, I can't knock them. But some of the stuff that they're saying today is just, I feel it's not making sense. The adultery and things of that nature. Somebody has to school me. I'm not trying to say this doesn't exist, but
okay, you meant idolatry, not adultery.
Said idolatry, and not adultery.
Okay, hold on. Let me look it up because it's a specific word, and I want to make sure. No, I think it's idolatry.
Idolatry.
Listen. Idolatry. Yes, idolatry. 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 So basically, it's the worship of idols. Yeah.
Idolizing.
The worship of idols is called idolatry. Yes. So yeah, they're saying, yeah, people are worshiping idols if they are members of a sorority or fraternity. I just want to make sure I get that because it sounded like you said adultery, and I just don't want people to get that confused.
Idolatry.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Worshiping idols. Now I can say I don't feel like I do that in my sorority. Do you feel like you did that in your fraternity?
No,
me either.
I wouldn't know the idol to
worship. Right, exactly. So yeah, this is, and you had mentioned you could see if somebody was treated poorly.
The hate that used to take place.
But that's not one of the issues that was raised in the article, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I could see if it was that. That's not one of the issues. You're exactly right.
Right. So I think, did you get out all of your thoughts about it?
Yeah.
I don't want to cut you off because I just feel like if people are denouncing their fraternity or sorority, because of their religious beliefs, and they believe that this contradicts their religious beliefs, then I understand that they can make that decision and they can decide to walk away from the organization. But I don't understand why they feel the need to publicly denounce the organization and malign the organization and disclose proprietary information in the process. For example, they might say, well, in my particular sorority, we do X, Y, and Z during our chapter meetings. And if we do in my religion, if you're doing X, Y, and Z, that's a sin, or that contradicts a particular scripture in the Bible. Like, to me, that's not necessary, because going in, when you go to, what do they call these meetings that people go to learn about the organization? Do they still call them rushes?
And smokers, yeah.
Okay, so if you go to a rush and you get information about the organization and they're telling you, okay, this is what we're about, this is our mission statement, this is what we these are the activities that we are involved in. These are our four main thrusts. This is where we do our work in these particular areas. And this is what is going to be required of you. You have to pay dues. You have to attend this meeting. You have to do, going in, this is what you're going to do. To me, if you're a religious person, you would know at that point that this is not consistent with my religion.
Okay.
And I understand if you are not religious before and you become religious after you join. I get that. And you feel like something contradicts your religion, then all you got to do is walk away. All you got to do is fade to black. You do not have to drag down the organization with you when you leave.
I agree with you saying that exposing the organization isn't the right thing to do, because whether you believe it or not, there are literally hundreds of thousands of people that are still in the organization. That's one. But two, I can't really agree with your rush and smoker statement, because at the rush and the smokers, a lot of stuff that they're talking about, rituals that the organizations have, are not revealed. And they're not going to be revealed until you go through the process.
Okay.
Now, after the process and you initiate it and you don't like it, well, there was one lady in the article that did so. She did
what?
That she just was initiated, and then she denounced it right after she was initiated.
And she said there are certain non-negotiables that she was unwilling to continue to compromise on.
Yeah.
She said there were instances where she felt religious conflict, as well as what she considered, quote unquote, manipulation of scripture. Quote, manipulation of scripture, that caused her to want to rescind her membership. And so my thing is that's fine. Like, you have
Why
every
didn't you stop then, though?
Huh?
Why didn't you stop and drop line then? That's what I would say to her. When you saw that going on, why didn't you say, I can't be a part of this anymore?
Oh, no, but like you said, there's certain things that you're not going to be privy to until
she was actually going through the process. See, at the rush, they're not going to tell you what the process is. They're going to put their 5 points in.
But Shantae, there's certain things that you don't know until after you cross. Yes or right? Because how you going to go to a chapter meeting when you're not a member of the organization yet? Just because you pledging don't mean you know. You don't. They don't tell you, Shantae, they did not.
They don't tell you the rituals of the chapter means, but you see the other. What I'm saying is,
hold on, back up.
There's nothing in the rush really, or in the smoke really, is going to make you not. Is going to conflict with your religion. That's what
I'm telling you. What I'm asking you though is, during the initiation process, are you telling me that you know the secret handshake and you know the secret motto and you know all that stuff when you are pledging? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not going to reveal anything.
But that's my point of what I'm saying to you is there's certain things that you're not going to know until after you cross and become a member of the organization. Yes or right? You can't even
answer that.
No, but I'm saying nobody, I think everybody, this is public information. Nobody is wearing letters and symbols from an organization before they cross.
That's a different question.
It's the same issue though.
No, it isn't.
The point that I'm making to you, I think everybody, this is common sense. You're not going to know everything about an organization that you're not a member of before you become a member of the organization. And just because you are going through an initiation process does not make you privy to all of the goings on of that organization. Yes or right? That's all I'm saying. Okay. Yes or right?
What I'm saying to you is, no, you're wrong on that one. I like your yes or rights usually, but no. What's the no and wrong. Okay. You know and wrong. All right, so that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is enough that's going on during the process that can make you feel
okay. That's different. That's a different story. I think we're both saying the same thing.
Okay.
You're saying, I think we're both right. There are some things that you're just not going to know until you become a full-fledged member of the organization. But hold on. But I think what you're saying, and I agree, I think what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying, is that there is enough that you would know during the process that could sway you one way or the other.
That's why I asked, why didn't the young lady drop line?
But I think it's reasonable to assume that whatever caused her to change her mind just wasn't disclosed during the initiation process, and that's totally possible. It's totally reasonable.
Her faith, I think that's what it is. Not her, though. She just not her, because she just had initiated. A lot of other people, I think, they grow in their faith, and
right, yeah, she may have changed or evolved.
A bad experience with a member, you know.
But I think the bottom line for me is that there is everything should be done. Now, if this person is like super religious, and I'm assuming that we're talking, I shouldn't make this assumption, but I'm assuming that we're talking about a Christian. Like Christianity, if you're a Christian, you know that everything must be done in decency and in order. And I think that if you are a Christian, you understand being under authority, whether it's authority of the law, authority of a person in authority. So the point is there are rules and regulations that must be followed. And there is actually a process that you can go through when you are no longer when you want to rescind your membership and you no longer want to be a member of an organization. There is a process, and you should go through that process, which does not include disclosing proprietary information of the organization. So that's my only thing is just do things right. I mean, stop trying to get clicks and trying to get have a viral moment.
And we can't accuse them for that. It's social media. People put announcements out there just sometimes to put announcements out there to make people aware. So let's not belittle them. I agree with your first statement. Like, if this is what you want to do, go ahead and do it. But why try to drag the chapter of the organization or the sorority down or the fraternity down when they do spectacular things in the community to help folks. So,
exactly. Just go about your business.
Yeah, the good far outweighs the bad. So with that being said,
let us move on.
Justin Timberlake. This is, I don't know. It's bad because you could have killed somebody. That's what I said. He was drinking a lot out on Long Island, way out in the Hampton, Sag Harbor. Somebody in the article said that he was drinking other people's drinks. One of the articles also said that there was a lot that they found in his body. One of them was a drug that I think prevents the spreading of AIDS or the stopping of HIV. But then there was another one that contradicted that all these things weren't in his system.
Wait, they're trying to say
he took some backlash from this.
So are people speculating about the drug that they're trying to say that he had HIV?
They said that medicine was inside of him. That's what he tested upon, and then there was some combatants to that.
Wow, I hadn't heard that one. I just heard that he had this one martini that was in the James Bond movie. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
And it was a particularly potent recipe that they use.
Everybody in the club getting tips. You, to me, at your status in your wealth, whatever your wealth is, sometimes we assume their wealth and it could be far diminished. I would think that you would have a driver if you're going to go out on the town. I know I would. If I was a certain level of wealth and I wanted to go out, just like my neighbor across the street, he takes a lot of Ubers. He said, man, when I go out, I never drive. I always take it. He said,
so this is what I was referring to, Shantae. I hear you about getting a driver, especially when you're somebody of his means. It's like it's so easy to do. But there's no defense to driving under the influence because you can't kill someone. But what if you meet friends out and you have no intent, like that wasn't your intention to be out drinking and it just happens and you drove to meet your friends at the event. So you may go out not intending to drink, but I would think that someone of his means would have a driver anyway. Like if I had a lot of money, I would definitely have a driver because who the heck wants to be driving all the time? That's just too much. But what I was saying about the drink that he had, it's called a Vesper Martini. And they said that these are the martinis that James Bond used to have in the James Bond movies or somebody in the movie. Because I'm not a James Bond fan, but they have what's called a Vesper Martini, which includes a half an ounce of vodka and 2 ounces of gin and a quarter ounce of Lillet Blonde, whatever that is, must be a liqueur. But that is going to make your martini extra potent. And they said the one that he had was like a $21 martini. Is $21 a lot for a drink when you go to a bar, like a cocktail?
Not today.
Oh, really? That's like an average price of a cocktail?
I think the average price is more in the $15 to $18 range.
Okay. And not that $21 is an issue for Justin Timberlake, but I'm just saying for the average person.
And he might have got that drink for free.
Exactly. But I would imagine all that vodka and gin together has to be potent. I've had a Long Island iced tea, which actually has 3 liquors in it, I think. 4? What are the 4 in the Long Island iced tea?
It's all of the clear liquors. So it's tequila, vodka, gin, and what's the other one I'm missing?
I'm just Googling it now. Oh, rum.
Clear rum.
Yeah. So they're saying vodka, rum, tequila, gin, and triple sec. Triple sec is a liqueur.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, drink it.
Oh no, actually, listen, those Long Island iced teas will mess you up. And
They can.
I have had those before, but I haven't had one in a long time. I will say that. But at any rate, I as far as Justin Timberlake is concerned, I'm not worried about Justin Timberlake. He's gonna be all right. Cry me a river. He's gonna be all right. He had one misstep, and I saw that he's on tour right now, and he mentioned the DWI, not directly during his concert, but he basically said, you guys, all of my fans have been with me and stuck by me all of these years. And I love you for that. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes, and you knew that he was referring to the DWI without directly saying that he was referring to the DWI, but that's clearly what he was referring to. And his fans are going to be his fans. People are going to stick by him. And I think most people can relate to somebody that went out and had too much to drink.
Yeah.
But there are people who have lost loved ones
Yes.
in drunk driving accidents. And so it's probably more difficult for them to understand and forgive someone who does this, because we all know
My limit is 2.
honestly, you really, and I think everybody does it, but you really, if you had any alcohol, you really shouldn't be driving. That's really the bottom line. Like if you go out, you have a glass of wine, you probably shouldn't. You just shouldn't. But I know that people do, because you feel like, oh, this is nothing. But alcohol does it does affect your reflexes and stuff like that. So you can't be as alert.
It depends on your body weight, and there's a lot of things that figure into it. What you can do is have a breathalyzer thing in your pocket that you can blow it or go into your phone, and it'll measure it, and it'll tell you where you are. If you're anywhere close to it, then yeah, don't Uber home or have somebody drive you home. I get that.
Right. For example, like when I recently went to Preakness in Baltimore, and people notoriously, they have open bar there. They have all you can eat, all you can drink. And people notoriously go and they have a good time and they have as many drinks as they want and stuff like that. But I noticed like a lot of people come in groups and they get like a van or like a
to me, if like, okay, I told you about that night. I had more than the drinks. It was on
right
on Founders Day, and then I told you how I came home and I kept circling and circling and circling on the highway, right? And I said to myself, okay, I can't have these out anymore when I go.
Right, exactly,
right.
exactly.
But the drinking is not the same, If I feel like I'm too and I don't have a ride, I'm gonna sit there, I'm gonna drink water, and I'm gonna sit there for 2 or 3 hours
until you get sober. Yeah,
like I clear up.
Right.
So that's what I would do. But that's what I'm saying. It's like you rather have Ubers. You might
exactly.
It might be an extra 60 something. It could be $70 for the Uber, like there and back. But you know what?
It's worth it. It's worth it. If you get
it.
home safely and you make sure everybody else on the road is safe, it's definitely worth it.
All right, it is.
But as we get older, alcohol affects us differently too. That's another thing.
Yeah.
You can't hang out and drink all night like you used to when you were in college.
Let us move on.
Yeah, this is not our favorite stories. The famine situation that's going on in Sudan.
Yeah, very sad.
It is sad, and I always think like this world, especially like our country, but this world, there's too much food to be going that is on this planet for folks to be starving. And I will always say that this is, and I think anybody would be open to contributing to a situation if there was a campaign out there that's better, that doesn't come on at night and sees the flies on kids' face. I'm talking about just broad day. Like the news, I don't understand why. Uh, I don't know. They can start on social media somewhere if the news don't, because you said, like you said, it's political. Well, MSNBC, they supported Zimbabwe, but they didn't support this. It puts you in a situation that's bad. But to me, places like FEMA and stuff like that, these World Health Organizations should be putting messages out, and maybe they are, and I'm ignorant of the facts, so I do apologize. But I think it should be bombarded all over social media. And you got to make sure you're giving to the right person so your money isn't stolen or anything like that. But I think there's something that can be done. And I know you talk about it's not the raising of money, is how they get the food because of the corruption. And I feel like the UN can send in their military, and other countries can sacrifice their military to make sure these people are getting fed.
Well, you would think, but I think the problem here to me is that this unfortunately is a situation that is being caused by the people within the country. And that's what's frustrating to me, because it's not as if, for example,
A small group, though.
it's not as if the land has been there's been a natural disaster which is preventing the crops from being harvested, and so there's no food in Sudan. Like that's not the issue. The issue is that you have two warring factions inside the country that's preventing aid from getting to the regular citizens who are being used, in my opinion, as pawns in this dispute between
And,
two
and,
two
that, and
generals.
that's when other humanitarian countries need to come in and make that cease and desist and bring food in safely and set up tents and warehouses where these folks can eat and keep an eye on these two factions.
Okay, you know how people have
And then
been
they,
trying
and
to
they
get.
can have them sit down at a table and talk out their stuff instead of warring out, because the episode of famine should not be going on. I don't care what political situation there is. People should not be without basic necessities or
And
access.
it's the same for the people in Gaza, right?
Yeah,
The food should get to them, but it's not getting to them because people are blocking it.
right. But that's why you
You
have
see,
to.
so it's not that
You
simple.
have to.
People,
It is that simple. I'm tired of hearing that.
if it was that simple, then it would be
No,
happening.
it's not being done because you don't want to go and see. Other times you go in and invade this America, it kills me. And then France and all of these countries. Any other time you go in and colonize these countries and you do different things to them. Now they need aid and assistance so to make sure that they eat. And you can say, look, I don't care what y'all are doing or how are y'all warring. These folks are going to get food. Period.
Let me ask you this: how do we decide in our media, like what gets attention and what doesn't get attention? Because of course we've heard about Palestine and Israel. We've heard about that. I haven't even heard about this Sudanese issue, and where the people are, there's a famine in Sudan and people are dying of starvation. 14,000 people have already been killed, and 10 million people have been displaced from their home.
Died from it.
What?
They died, right?
14,000 people have been killed, and 10 million people have been displaced.
They killed.
What?
What do you mean when you say killed? Have they been killed? Like, have these warring factors killed them, or have they died from starvation?
I don't know what has happened to them, but 14,000 people have been killed
You
in
read
this.
this from the article?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't see.
And so they're saying they're trying to get aid to the people, and it's being blocked. You have basically you have a dispute between the generals or the leaders of the Sudanese armed forces versus the rapid support forces. So you have these like rogue organizations inside these countries that for whatever reason they try to take over. And so then you get these power struggle between these two rival generals of these organizations. And the people, the citizens, innocent civilians get caught in the crossfire. And so that's what's happening here. And that's what's so frustrating about it, because it's almost as if the country is causing its own problem. But this is what happens in these corrupt countries. And this is corruption of the highest order. But again, it's interesting how certain humanitarian crises are highlighted in our media and some aren't. What?
Take precedent over another.
Right. And I think it's because this is a black country. That's what I think.
And also, like, what resources that Sudan has. I said I was going to Google that.
So you feel like because the United States does not value Sudan, they're not intervening in this?
Not just the United States, other countries.
So if there was something to gain from the land or some resources to be had, we would see more intervention.
Right.
I hear you.
They got gold, uranium, chromite, gypsum, mica, marble, and iron. One.
And the other thing about it that's frustrating and disappointing is that they're saying that they can't get humanitarian aid to the people, but weapons are able to flow into the country for both sides to continue this war. So it's almost as if, honestly, I feel like the world is standing by and basically facilitating the destruction of Black people.
Well,
so y'all go ahead and kill yourselves, and then we'll come in and we'll take over.
I would say the death of Sudan. They don't care about Black lives. I definitely agree. I'm not going to argue that statement at all. That is because that is just not. That is something that we should have fixed easily to me, and we don't have it fixed. All right, so
let us move on.
Oh, sorry.
Why are you sorry? Oh.
All right, so Reggie Jackson has some comments about coming up in baseball, playing in Birmingham and other places in the South. We're just going to let you hear it.
Emotional is it for you to come back to a play that you played with one of the greatest teams around?
Alex, when people ask me a question like that, it's like coming back here is not easy. The racism that I played here, when I played here, the difficulty of going through different places where we traveled. Fortunately, I had a manager and I had players on the team that helped me get through it. But I wouldn't wish it on anybody. People said to me today, I spoke, and they said, "You think you're a better person? You think you won when you played here in Concord?" I said, I would never want to do it again. I walked into restaurants and they would point at me and said, "The nigger can't eat here."
Mm.
I would go to a hotel and they said, "The nigger can't stay here." We went to Charlie Finley's country club for a welcome home dinner, and they pointed me out with the N-word. "He can't come in here." Finley marched the whole team out. Finally, they let me in there. He said, "We're going to go to the diner and eat hamburgers. We'll go where we're wanted." Fortunately, I had a manager, Johnny McNamara, that if I couldn't eat in the place, nobody would eat. We'd get food to travel. If I couldn't stay in a hotel, they'd drive to the next hotel and find a place where I could stay. Had it not been for Raleigh Fingers, Johnny McNamara, Dave Duncan, Joe and Sharon Rudy, I slept on their couch 3-4 nights a week for about a month and a half. Finally, they were threatened that they would burn our apartment complex down unless I got out. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. The year I came here, Bull Connor was the sheriff the year before. And they took minor league baseball out of here because in 1963, the Klan murdered 4 black girls, children, in 11, 12, 14 years old at a church here and never got indicted. It was, they were from the Klan. Life magazine did a story on them like they were being honored. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. At the same time, had it not been for my white friends, had it not been for a white manager, and Rudy, Fingers, and Duncan, and Lee Myers, I would have never made it. I was too physically violent. I was ready to physically fight some. I'd have got killed here because I'd have beat someone's ass, and you'd have saw me in an oak tree somewhere.
Reggie, I can't even imagine. It's awful you had to go through that, but appreciate you sharing the rawness and the honesty of it with our audience. I mean, really, we love your ex. Yeah, thank you. Quick history lesson, right? That's a great history lesson. Reggie Jackson telling us all about.
Wow.
So those were the powerful words of Reggie Jackson, and of course, I would say bravo to him. I've been a fan of Reggie Jackson for a long time. I remember when he came to the Yankees. I remember the arguments he had with Billy Martin. I remember how outspoken he was. And this was in the 70s. I was a young kid. I was like 7, 8 years old, just starting to play baseball. And I just think that him even using the word nigga was like powerful to remind people like, that hurt is still inside, and it carries on and over. So bravo to Reggie Jackson.
I agree with what you said. We witnessed history here. This was a real live history lesson. And he's clearly a living legend. And so to hear directly from him about his experience, I think was very powerful. And I love the fact that the other men on the panel just let him express himself. They did not interrupt him, and they just let him go. I feel like they could have let him go longer. I don't even know if he was finished at the end. I really don't. But they let him tell his story in an uninterrupted manner, and I think that's what was necessary.
There was more, but it was kind of chopped up because it took me a while to find just the meat of it when Alex Rodriguez asked that question, and I thought that,
and I love it because I think he was probably just sort of throwing him a softball, no pun intended, hoping, just thinking that it was going to be a fluff answer, like, oh, it's great to be back here, and like a fluffy canned answer. I don't think they were expecting him to go where he went with it, but I love the fact that they allowed him to do that, and they just sat back and they listened. And I think it was important for America to hear that, because you might read about the history of black people having to be in the Negro Leagues because they weren't allowed in the MLB, and we talked about how now they're including the statistics from the Negro Leagues into the MLB now. I think they're trying to make an attempt to right the wrongs of the past, and you may hear stories like that and read about stories like that, but to hear someone recount their actual experience is a whole other it's a whole other phenomenon in my
A whole nother feeling. It's I get this when I teach sometimes, but yeah, this was in the major leagues actually. That
right.
um, you heard rest in peace of Bill Russell. He talks about the time when he played in the NBA. He had the same experiences going down south. Rest in peace to my dad. He used to talk about when he made his trips down south, that he would hate it. So what I try to tell people sometimes is just like, we not too many generations past.
Exactly. But here's
It's still there, and it's still is passed down and is carried.
exactly. And I think the fact that you have someone who is still living, he's not that old. He's 78 years old. He's not that old. That is a reminder that we are not that far removed from these kinds of experiences here in America. That's the point that I'm making. And I think it shows us who we are. And we've come far, but it feels like sometimes if we aren't aware of this history, it almost feels like now we're starting to begin to try to repeat that history. Like we have to be reminded that it doesn't take a lot for us to end up going back to where we've come since the days of Reggie Jackson, which again weren't that long ago. Like you said, this was the 70s. So the other thing that
The 60s,
the other thing that jumped out to me about what he said was he mentioned the white people that he was surrounded with who spoke up and who said, no, this is wrong and we're not doing this. Who, took the initiative to say, we're not going to be a part of this discrimination. And he said he had a manager that was like, okay, if Reggie Jackson can't eat here, he's part of this team. None of us is eating here. We're leaving. We go somewhere. He said we eat hamburgers if we have to, but we're not going to eat here, and we're not going to stay in this hotel if he can't stay here. And I like that.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that we need for good white people to do now and throughout history. And they've done that. And that's what we need more of. People who are going to stand up and say, I don't care what color I am and what color this person is right and wrong is wrong. And this is wrong. And this should not be allowed to happen. So I think whoever you are, if you have the power to influence right versus wrong, then that's what you should do. Speak up, speak out, do what you can do.
I couldn't agree more.
Let us move on.
Am I tripping?
Hey.
Am I tripping? We got me. Am I tripping?
Oh.
Got me sipping. Got me thinking, am I tripping?
Hey, so this is where we play the Am I Tripping game. This is a game that was created by Reese Colbert. It's a card game. You can play it at parties, and we just go through different scenarios and talk about it. Say how we feel. You ready? Well, all right. Everyone hates my boss, but he has always looked out for me. I sing my boss's praises to upper management. so they can stay put rather than siding with the rest of the group. Am I tripping?
No, because you have your own personal preference. I don't have an issue with that. So, and without knowing why the other group or the other workers, fellow colleagues, do not like you,
I think
I can't really give an ultimate response, because if they don't like your boss because he said cruel, vile things, then yeah, you are tripping. But if they don't like your boss because he makes them work harder, then I ain't gonna say you tripping.
I'm gonna say you tripping, because if you understand anything about office politics, this is not the right move. I think that you are in danger of alienating the rest of the people that you work with, and you don't want to do that when you have to work with people.
Well, I guess I was reading it that he was in a one-on-one with the upper management, not saying in front of the rest of his colleagues. Now, if he said it in front of the rest of his colleagues, oh, hell yeah, you tripping. I thought he was saying it. I took it that when he said he gets a chance to praise his boss, he does, but I didn't think it was in others, because he knew that others didn't like him. So I wouldn't do it publicly in their faces.
Okay. That could be true. But I just feel like if everybody is okay, here's the question. How do you know that everybody else hates the boss?
Because they probably talk and chat.
Exactly. Right. So you don't think people would be able to sniff out that you not with the rest of the group?
Possibly. You know, they could say every time we talk about them, you say nothing.
You what?
They could say every time we talk about the boss, you never add your words or say anything.
Right.
So they could be like, well, you know, Joe, do you like him? And you might say, I don't have a problem with him. I see the things he does. I don't like that, but honestly, I don't have a problem with him. Yeah, that can. But to me, as long as you're nice to your colleagues, then I just think that you should judge the boss and not your fellow worker.
But see, here's the thing, and you said this. This particular boss looks out for you, but there's a reason why everybody else hates this person. So what if, and let's assume we talk about all Black people, like the rest of the staff is Black and you're Black, and let's say
take race out the equation.
You want to take race out of the equation?
That's what you seem like you're telling me. Take race. You said assume everybody's Black, so race ain't in the equation.
Well, I think where I was going is, you may be the one, quote unquote, magical Negro that gets promoted and does well in the workplace, and everybody else doesn't. And so you may hold. This is where I'm going. What if you doing this because it's preserving your position, but you know that everybody else is being treated poorly?
Self-preservation is the first law of life.
No. That's where I'm out. That's where I'm out.
In your scenario, he can't be the only Black person being promoted, because everybody above him is Black. You said let's assume everybody Black.
No, I was talking about the people who are complaining. The people complaining,
and the bosses are white. Because if everybody's Black, there ain't no problem, because the higher ups are already Black.
Well, let's assume we're talking about in most corporate America, in most corporations, upper management probably is not Black.
Right. Okay.
That's just how it is based on the numbers.
This is a different scenario.
So so that's why I'm saying it depends. It depends. So my thing is, if my coworkers are being treated poorly and I'm happen to be the special magical Negro and I'm getting the hookup for whatever reason. Like I could be just that amazing or not. But the point is that I'm not going to sit. I don't feel like I can sit idly by and pump this person up when people are being treated poorly, just because I got in a good position.
Now let me
So
say
I may at the very least, I may just remain neutral. I'm not going to pump them up.
Okay, so this is why her game is good, because it's not concrete.
Right.
Pumping them up to the bosses in private, and the bosses are not, his superiors. If he pumps his boss up to the boss's superiors, and none of them are saying anything, and it's kept quiet, and they don't know, and he doesn't reveal to the rest of his colleagues that's what he's doing, then no, he ain't tripping. He tripping if he goes down and tells his colleagues, this is what I'm doing. Now, as far as promotions, I'm sorry, this is a game of life. If they bump me up and I'm making $300,000, I'm not going to say, well, they don't like him, so I'm not gonna like him, and that's going to dictate what I do. Like, let me give you a situation. There is a situation that happened similar to this where I worked on the workforce, right? And I remember this guy, when we went to dinner, we were talking about that black person, like, oh, he Uncle Tom. That's what they was calling him. He Uncle Tom. He this, he that. He trying to please. And the brother told us, he was just happening to be sitting at the table. It's like, why are you classifying him as an Uncle Tom? Because he's trying to mend a relationship with the superiors in his office. And white folks do that, y'all might call it brown nosing or kissing ass. Black folks do it, you call him a traitor and an Uncle Tom. Why couldn't it just be networking? Like sometimes, and I tell people all the time, I tell the students up at A&M that are black, like, you cut your nose to spite your face if you feel like you can't open up and have relations with others. It's so funny, at church, this happened, they talked about this today, because this guy was on a mission at Haiti, and a lot of the Haitian people didn't like the white people. So he facilitated communication between the two. And then they started to get along and understand each other. So what I'm saying is, in this situation, don't cut your nose and spite your face. He knows how to act and be jovial around his superiors that's white. He befriends them and they go out to eat and so on and so forth. While the other black folks, like, they just my bosses. I don't F with them. I don't F with them like that. Of course he gonna get ahead because he knows them. And then we'll call him an Uncle Tom, where it could just be smart networking.
I hear you. So, you're not wrong.
All right.
Okay. Both of my kids received straight A's on their latest report cards. But when my wife tried to give them money as a reward for getting good grades, I said no. I do not want my kids to feel entitled to gifts or money whenever they do something good, and they need to learn that doing the right thing is reward enough. Am I tripping?
No, I don't think so.
So you don't think kids should get rewards for doing well?
No, I'm not saying that. I do think they should know that that's a reward enough. I'm hoping that these parents, provide for them anyway. Like, if you're providing for them anyway, and they want for nothing, then yeah, you don't need to give them rewards when they get grades. If you got to do that to spark them, then what happens? Like, I'm gonna have to pay you the rest of your life. Sometimes you're right. Getting an A, the proudness that you feel, and the excitement and the happiness that is upon your siblings and your parents and your aunties and uncles' faces, and when they find out that you were an A student, should be rewarded enough. I don't think he's tripping. I don't mind parents giving money for like if they say $20 for an A, $10 for a B, $5 for a C, you know. I don't mind that because that means they're gonna work hard at the end of the semester and they're gonna be like, shh, I got 6 classes, I got 6 A's, that's $120.
So you picking both sides though.
No, I said he's not tripping. I don't think he is.
You said I think the kids should learn that getting good grades is reward enough.
That's what he said.
But then you said that's cool. You said I agree with that.
Right.
But then you also said, but you don't mind them getting paid for the grades. Now you can't do both.
No, I don't mind them getting paid for the grades. But I'm just saying, I'm only saying he's not tripping in his household. He's not tripping. And somebody elder household that might pay them for the grades. I'm like,
so you don't have a problem with him saying no, the kids should not get nothing for good grades. You don't have a problem. You don't say you say he's not tripping.
But I did say a disclaimer on that, especially if they're provided for enough.
Okay, if he said, okay, so do you believe in giving kids chores?
Absolutely.
Do you believe in paying kids an allowance for doing chores?
Absolutely. Now, I don't think the allowance.
You see where I'm going with it? You see where I'm going?
I don't think the allowance should be for chores. If I had a maid, I would give my kids allowance anyway. I would help them open a banking account because I would want to teach them, and I think as parents are responsible on how to manage money.
Okay, so let me ask you this: if they don't do the chores, do they get the money?
Yes. Yeah, but that means I have a maid in the house. So they might have to do some chores, like put your clothes away and I don't know. But if I got a maid vacuuming their rooms and changing their sheets and all of that stuff, nah.
I think I agree with you. I don't think he's tripping. I don't think he's tripping. Like if I wanted to give my kids a financial reward for getting good grades, and my husband said, "No, I don't think that's a good approach. Let's not do that." I'm not gonna fight him.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fight him. It's not that serious. Like
if you give them money other ways, like, but if you never give your kids money, then you tripping because of that.
I remember my father used to tell this joke, and he would say, a friend of mine had parents that would give them 50 cents for doing chores, and he said his father told him that he was good for nothing. He gonna be good for nothing. In other words,
the boy that got the 50 cents.
No, my father, his friend got money for being good, but his father told him, "You're gonna be good for nothing." That was his little joke, his play on words. So that's how I kind of feel like we should raise our kids to just get joy and pride out of achieving just based on the achievement. In other words,
go ahead.
The achievement is the reward.
Yes, I agree with that. That's why I say he isn't tripping.
Yeah.
But if especially like I said, if you're giving your kids allowance, like every week they get $25 put in their banking account or $50.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I get you on that. You're teaching them financial management and all that. Right, I get that. Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. But this is what I'm saying. Do you agree
until the age you start working?
What was that?
Until the age they start working.
Right. And then they're going to have to learn to manage their money anyway. But that's a good lesson to learn before you start earning money, so that once you do start earning money, you know how to manage it. But what I was going to ask you is, how do you feel about this? This reminds me of participation medals in sports. What do you think about kids getting a participation medal?
I can't stand it.
Right. And I think this is where this father is coming from. He's like, you ain't going to get no reward just for doing what you're supposed to do. Like, and why should every kid on the team get an award just because you're on a team.
I don't think that's equatable.
You don't?
Because I think the money for the grades is an incentive. I think for participating in sports is not like if I gotta give you an incentive for participating, but like if you come out, you're gonna get a trophy. Like, no, to me, this puts work ethic into play. Yeah, we have an MVP of the league, and we got a trophy for the winners and the losers. You know, a first place trophy and the second place trophy, and that's it. An all-star plaque if you make the all-star team, but everybody else, you get nada.
Okay, now see, now you changed it for me when you said you don't see anything wrong with giving the kid money as an incentive to do well. Now I got a problem with that because I think that
I said it's different. So you have to listen to me. I said it's different than a participation trophy. I said the money for the grades could just be an incentive.
And I'm saying I will have a problem with it if it is used as an incentive. In this scenario, they got it after the fact. It's not as if you said, okay,
like I said earlier,
like you said before,
$20.
$20. Right. I don't agree with that because you shouldn't need an incentive to do what's right and to do what you should do, which is your best and achieve based on that. Now, if you're doing your best and you just ain't cutting it, that's a different story.
Okay, so there are already incentives built in for doing well. There's being on the honor roll, there's receiving academic scholarships, and there's going to top institutions. You're right, that's incentive enough. You're just adding another incentive along the lines of it. To me, now, if I give them allowance, then I'm just counting that's it. It's at the end of each semester, so I'm giving it to them 4 times a year. But I get what you're saying. I don't think they be incentivized.
Right. Like I have discussions with Justin, our son Justin, about making his bed. Like he doesn't understand why he needs to make his bed up and why I make my bed up every morning.
Right.
And I try to explain it to him and he's not getting it. And so I finally said to him, it's not about, because what they'll say is, I don't understand why I got to make my bed up because I'm just going to get right back in it. Right. But what I try to explain to him, and I think he's getting it, is it's not about the actual making up of the bed. Number one, it's about discipline.
Yeah,
it's about starting your routine. It's about starting your day with an accomplishment. To me, it's like when you make your bed up, that's my first accomplishment for the day, and it sets the tone. Right. This is going to be a day of accomplishments.
And it just reminds you to stay neat, decent, and in order. So you don't think that helps you, but it's going to help you be more meticulous in your life. So when you get in the workplace, those things carry over. Like right now, it's just like I always have to tell my kids, when I'm telling you something, there's a science to it because I've lived. Right.
Okay. Say it again. Say it again. You preaching now, brother.
So that's what I tell my kids. Like, you got to give me credit. Like, I'm 50 plus years old. You're only 18. I've lived everything I do. That's why I always say one of my favorite scenes in any movie history is in The Karate Kid with Mr. Miyagi. Mm-hmm. He says, you got me sanding your cars, you got me sanding your tables, and you got the walls and everything like that. You're not teaching me karate, right? But Mr. Miyagi is brilliant, and he's already lived, and he knows what's going to get him here. So he says, hands up, and he says, he throws a punch at him, and he blocks it this way, and he blocks it this way, and he told them that. And so he caught on to it, and it's a lesson. It's just like, listen to the wisdom that your parents are giving you, because they lived already. And they're just trying to make you better and more prepared. It might seem like nonsense now, but as they sung, I think they sung it today in church or last week. You will understand it better.
By and by.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Youth is wasted on the young. Mm-hmm. It's going to be when they turn 30 and they're 40 and they go back and they go, Mama was right.
Yeah.
Daddy was right.
Yeah.
That's why they were telling me You got to be on. That's why they keep telling me over and over again. If you want to be on time, you got to be early. If you're on time, you late. They think I'm just saying that out of the blue, but that because and I tell them every time, like especially if we go somewhere for the first time and they need to be at a certain time, and we get in the area and you're a little lost, turned around, you don't know where to go. I said, see, this is why you got to be early, because you got to figure all this stuff out when you get over here, because you don't know. So you need to build in that extra time, so you will be on time by the time you find where you're supposed to be.
So in the Jesse Owens movie with, I forgot this actor's name, dark-skinned guy, he got big nostrils, but he played the original one in black and white. And so when Jesse Owens was in Berlin in the 1936 Olympics, he was doing a high jump, and every time he would go to jump, they would shoot the gun and they would say default. And he's like, I know it's not a default, blah, blah, blah. And so I think it was a German guy, a white guy there, or a guy from Switzerland that said, hey, you can already jump this far. He says, I'm going to put a towel, right, in front of the line. Jump from the towel. That way your footprint is on the towel and they can't say that you faulted. He did it. So he just put them back a little bit more. So I say things like sometimes like being on time, like you said, if you on time, you late. My father was great with time. Like I said, something he always, if my game ended at 3, best believe he's gonna be there at 2:30, 2:15, 2:30. And he gonna be sitting out there listening to his music. Never, and you can ask my siblings, never in his life was he late, but he didn't like you to be late either. So
right.
You get that. So now it's like, yeah, my class starts at 9 o'clock. I'm trying to get to the building 7:30, 8. So I'm downstairs. But sometimes and I don't want to go down the road. Sometimes as an instructor, it's good to come in like 2 minutes late in the class. So the class is already there and you can just walk in and start teaching. But anyway, we got one more.
So this is the actor you were talking about. Isn't his name? Here's his picture. I think this is who you're talking about. Yeah. Is his name?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is his name?
He was in Roots too. The second generation.
Oh man. Isn't it like Dorian something? Dorian Harewood? Is it Dorian Harewood?
Something like that, yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah. I knew who you were talking about when you said the big nostrils.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name is Dorian Harewood. That played Jesse Owens in the movie. It's been a couple of Jesse Owens movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dorian Harewood. Okay. Have you seen, by the way, have you seen Yeah. Have you seen the Reggie Jackson documentary?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was really good. I could go back and watch that again.
Jay, I remember like they all were in New York. Reggie was on the Yankees, Doc was on the Nets. Those are all my heroes from the 70s. It was Pele, the soccer player from the Cosmos. It was in soccer. It was Reggie Jackson in baseball. It was O.J. Simpson in football. It was Dr. J in basketball, and like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar too. I didn't have a hockey player, but those were the sports. It was football, baseball, basketball, and the soccer. And those were all in the 70s.
Right. I mean, yeah, New York had a lot of big league athletes.
Yeah. So Kareem,
yeah.
And there's a connection to New York for all of them. Pele played for the Cosmos in New York. Reggie Jackson played for the Yankees in New York. Dr. J played for the Nets in New York and was from New York. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was from New York. He played for Milwaukee and the Lakers, but he was from New York. He went to high school in New York. And then O.J. Simpson played for the Buffalo Bills, which was in upstate New York. So there was a connection to New York. And I like Clyde Frazier too. I read his book. This is my reading teacher trying to get me to read, and she found out what I love. So she just threw these books in front of me, and that just opened up my love of reading.
That definitely will do it. Because at first I thought that was the avenue for Justin, because he, is into sports. That didn't work for him to ignite that passion for reading. But I think he finally found it.
Did he find it with the Bible?
Well, but more so, he's interested in finance. So he's a voracious reader of financial books now. So any book about how to become a millionaire, and
did he read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yes, that's one of the ones that I don't know if he read it yet, but that's one of the ones he's been asking for.
Yeah.
The last one I think he read was The Millionaire Next Door or something like that. And then from Trash Man to Cash Man.
Okay.
So yeah, he
First 48 Powers. That's a good book to read.
Which one?
First 48 Powers of Law.
48 Powers
of Law.
Of Law. Okay, I haven't heard of that one. But here's an interesting statistic about Reggie Jackson also, now that we're talking about it again. His batting average was 262. He had 2,584 hits, 563 home runs, 1,702 RBIs. But I read a very interesting statistic about him also having the most strikeouts.
Yeah.
Was it a season or a career? I think it's a career.
Yeah, he swung for the fences. It's the 48 Laws of Power. That's the book. But yeah, Reggie Jackson also won 5 World Series.
He had yes, and all of those are just incredible accolades and achievements. But I just thought it was so interesting that he holds the record for the most career strikeouts by a batter with 2,597 strikeouts. And that was just,
He struck out a lot because he swung hard.
And what I was thinking was, that is a metaphor for life. It's just like failing should not be a detriment to success or a impediment to success,
especially in baseball, because in baseball your statistics are going to be failing statistics. 50% or better is better than average. In baseball, you hit 300. Ted Williams hit 400. So that means every time you come up to bat, it's like 3 out of 10 times you're gonna get on. You're gonna get a hit. So that means.
But to me, right. But to me, it's a metaphor for life. And it's like, it tells me, don't worry about the failures. Don't worry about the strikeouts. Just keep swinging. Keep living.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Michael Jordan says it the best. He says, I miss far more than I made.
And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah. Donnie McClurkin says it best. We fall down and we get up.
You better preach, preacher.
All right. Let's hear that last one.
Oh, is there one more? Okay. The most I will tip for a takeout order is $5, regardless of the order amount. Am I tripping?
No.
Look, you're lucky if you get $5 from me from a takeout order.
That's if you getting $5 and that's a dinner order. I didn't order just for myself.
Because I'm like, again, you know how I feel about that. I don't have a problem with tipping 20%. I tip 20% across the board. Anytime I eat out, I don't care whether the service was poor or whether it was excellent. I tip 20% because I know that's the cost of doing business. I know these people work for the tips. That's what they depend on, even though I think the system is messed up because, I think the restaurants should pay them more money, pay them a livable wage. Don't put it on the customers, but I still pay the 20%. So when I go to get a carryout order and all you did was put the food in the bag, no, negative. You don't deserve a tip. So like I say, if I give you $5, it's because I was in a good mood. It was because I was in a good mood.
They could have put more condiments in your bag. Like when you order Chinese food, Now I'm gonna tell you this. I tip them because I be wanting extra soy sauce.
You know
Right.
what? I ain't
No,
messing with
no, I'm serious. Because they'll put one in the bag, and I'm like, and now they look at me. Now I don't know what it is. I almost got it written on my face. They look at me. You want extra soy sauce?
salt, pepper, ketchup.
Yeah, like they always say like ketchup and hot sauce. That's why I wrote the movie with that title. Because it's
Yeah.
always the ketchup hot sauce, ketchup hot sauce. Like when you got the rice and the wings, ketchup hot sauce, ketchup hot sauce. I said, oh man,
You said no, put some soy sauce in there.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
But I don't need a lot of soy sauce because it's so salty. Like you don't need a lot to, in food.
I don't use it all, but I like to have it.
Let us move on.
And then you got a drawer full of soy sauces at your house that you don't use. Well, all right. So today, as our little known Black history fact, we want to highlight Arthur Wergs Mitchell Sr. Arthur Wergs Mitchell Sr. was born on December 22nd, 1883 in Lafayette, Alabama. He was a United States representative from Illinois and a civil rights activist. He represented Illinois' 1st congressional district for his entire congressional career from 1935 to 1943. And during that time, he was the only African American in Congress. A supporter of the New Deal, Mitchell was the first African American to be elected to the United States Congress as a Democrat. Arthur Wergs Mitchell Sr. died on May 9, 1968 in Petersburg, Virginia. Arthur Wergs Mitchell Sr., our little known Black history fact.
He also was a member of Phi Beta Sigma.
Well, you better go ahead on and say it then.
Do you know where he went to college?
I don't. Do you?
No.
Let me see. Let me see if I can Google it real quick. Arthur Wergs Mitchell. They usually have
if he has
he went to the Tuskegee Institute.
Okay.
Tuskegee.
That's where he pledged in.
And then he briefly attended Columbia University and qualified for the bar, they say. But I don't think he ever took the bar. Okay, so then he went to Tuskegee and then he went to Columbia.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Let us move on.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. So we got a brief hell no. Washington Wizards general manager, Will Dawkins, was racially profiled. I believe it was at Saks Fifth Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And they have since apologized to him. When I was in Saks Fifth Avenue in San Francisco, I can say I didn't receive any of that. But I can say going in that store, and I haven't been in Saks Fifth probably for over, I would say 20-something years.
Mm-hmm.
I just remembered how expensive it is. I mean, they do have all the brand names, the well-known brand names, and then some other stuff that's not well known to me, but it was pricey. I was looking at a suit. I looked at the jacket. The jacket said $2,800 and the pants was $2,100. I said, this is a $4,700 suit. I said, great, Google, but he makes that type of money. And I don't know. That's all I have for that. So it's all hell no. Was it Saks Fifth?
Yes, it was.
Okay, what you got to say?
It's wrong. I mean, being racially profiled has got to be frustrating. It's got to be annoying, and we just get tired of it, you know.
Can you recall an incident where you were racially profiled and it was like sort of disgusting? I can tell you mine.
You what?
I can tell you mine. Like, I've been racially profiled a lot, but I can tell you two that was absolutely horrible.
Tell me about it.
In New York. All right, so in New York, across the street from my mentor's law firm, I went in and I was going just to purchase a tie. When I walked in the tie to the store and I looked, and then my mentor we had came back. The white man said in the store, he says, those ties start at $150. And I had already saw the prices on there. And I said, excuse me? And he says, those ties start at $150. I said, what do you mean? He said, I'm just telling you the cost of the ties. And it dawned on me, I said, oh, you don't think I have the money for the tie? No, I'm not saying that. I said, okay. So I went back across the street and I went to my mentor's law firm, like you, because that's where I was working, or I might have just stopped by there. And so he wanted to go by the store with me. So I went. And the guy had said something because I looked at his suit and he told me how much they start at. And then my mentor was like, no, he's with me. He's with me. Like, and he a white guy, right? Mm-hmm. And so after the end, he's like, I had your back. I said, not really. I said, because what you told him, like, that black guy is with me. I'm white. I have the money. I said, that's what you told him. He's like, no, I didn't. I said, no. I said, you didn't say, why are you telling him how much the suit costs and you're not telling me? You didn't say that. You said he's with me. As he say, I'm with Big White Daddy.
Right.
I was laughing the whole time. But he got upset. You know, he came home, he told his sons they agreed with me, but they might agree.
Yeah, because it's almost as if he's saying to the salesperson, hey, don't follow him around the store. Don't think he's about to steal. Don't think he can't afford to be here because he's with me. Yeah. All of the things that I know you're going to think, don't think that, because you're right.
Yeah. He meant well though, so I'm not.
He did. He did. But that's the thing. That's how ingrained it is into the psyche of American citizens. We're all victims of the indoctrination and the white supremacy.
So that's one. The second one is my boss at Channel 2 News. He's passed away. He was the general manager at Channel 2 News. His name was Jerry Nachman. And when he came into office, it was a shift in how I was being treated. And I didn't understand that because I was a jovial personality, always worked, never missed a day, hard worker, did everything everybody asked me about. So he came in and I had to talk with him in the office. And he said something to me. He says, everything is not racist. Like sometimes somebody could do something to you because they're an asshole and not a racist. All right, so I received that. He says, it's just your demeanor. I said, explain. He says, you walk around, he got up and started like funky chicken, like he trying to,
walk, a caricature.
Walk like black folks did in the blaxploitation movies.
Right. like he pimping.
Like Robert Townsend and his what was his movie? Not I'm gonna
get you, sucker.
He had that role when they was telling the black actors how to act more black. You know? He's like, you're not being black enough. There was an audition they went through. All the black males was there, and they was like, you're not being black enough. You know, even though they was black, they telling them.
Bamboozle?
No. It was I'm gonna get you, sucker.
I'm gonna get you. Okay.
It was in the movie. It was
okay.
All right. So is that
happened in
I'm gonna get you, sucker was Keenan Iron Williams. Keenan.
That's why I felt like it was either Bamboozle.
He had a different movie. It wasn't Bamboozle.
Oh my God, you're right.
That's Spike Lee's movie.
Keep talking. I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah. So in that movie that he put together, Robert Townsend, he had that part in there. And it was funny, you know, because that's how I felt when he was walking around the office, you know. Let me see. Here it is.
Hollywood Shuffle.
Hollywood Shuffle. That's what it was. This is in Hollywood Shuffle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, he was doing that like you. I was like, I don't walk like that. I look at him like I said, what the fuck is this? I said, I don't walk like that. So he just, you know, what happened?
What was his point, though?
His point was saying my demeanor, like I'm not taking the news serious. I said, everybody asked for me. You can go to every producer on here. They want me to work as the field producer or the assistant producer.
Well, he was saying they're not taking you seriously.
He was just like, I'm not taking it serious enough. And I said, how so? And then he did the walk. And remember, he talked about the racial stuff too. So the next day, I went down. My shift was over, and I was trying to catch a cab in New York, right outside of Channel 2. And cabs just kept passing me. And then Jerry comes out. He's smoking his cigar, and he sees me. I give him a heads up. He gives me a heads up. This taxi passed me. And then he slows down for these two white ladies that were maybe 50 yards, not even 50 yards, like 20 yards up the block. Not even 20 yards, 10 yards. It was close.
Yeah.
But he stopped. And they said, sir, I think this gentleman was waiting, pointing to me. Right? And I looked at them like, oh, don't open the door for me because he's going to pull off. And I hesitated to go. And they said, sir, you were here first. Come on, this is your cab, right? And so I started, the man yelled at them, was like, are you getting in? And she said, sir, this gentleman was here first, like being a very nice.
See, we just talked about that, didn't we? That's what it takes. Yes,
so
go.
She did that, and as I'm running up, he pulls off.
Isn't that something?
With the doors open.
Wow.
And the wind closed the door. Everybody out there saw it. It was embarrassing.
Wow.
Right? She turned, they both turned completely red. And they said, oh my God.
Yeah.
I am so sorry. I said, don't worry about it. It happens all the time.
The time. The life of a black man.
I came back to Jerry Nackman, the one that had me in his office earlier. I said, you see the shit we got to deal with? And you talk about it's not racial.
And did you see me pimping? Was I pimping to the car?
Yeah, I didn't see that. But he said, touche, like that, because he saw it. It was evident. And then the next day he asked me, why do you think he pulled off? I said, you know why he pulled off? He ain't want a black person in the car. He thought I was going to Brooklyn. He thought I could rob him or I was going to jump the fare. One of those.
Right.
You know, so those are the two of the many times I've been racially profiled.
Okay, well, let me tell you, and this is the dilemma of being black in America. I'm gonna tell you about an incident that happened to me recently, because this happened when we were within the last 2 weeks when we were in Boston. So after a game, the whole team and the parents go out to breakfast at a local diner.
Oh, it was an early game.
Yeah, and this is in Massachusetts. Yeah, I told you that was part of the problem, is that
8 a.m. game.
We had 3 8 a.m. games. We were like, are you serious?
Yeah.
3 8 a.m. games with teenagers. You know, that's a problem already. We feel like it was sabotage. But anyway, so we go to the diner and the team sits together. Usually the boys will sit together. And so I'm sitting, right. So I'm sitting with the family. I'm sitting with Big Ryan and Little Ryan, right? So we in a booth, right? And the boys are at a long table. So anyway, the waitress comes over. Of course, it's a white establishment. And then half of the team is white, half of the team is black. You know, it's mixed.
Okay.
So She comes over to the table and takes our orders and everything. So Ryan, he ordered like pancakes or something that required, I think he did chicken and waffles.
Okay.
So it requires syrup. And I got like a thing that had French toast that also requires syrup. Now, in this house, we use maple syrup.
Right.
Like real maple syrup. And I don't know if you know, but my maple syrup is very expensive.
Yes.
And it's most people, well, I'm not gonna say most people, but a lot of people use like Aunt Jemima, like regular
syrup.
Mrs. Butterworth, like regular syrup. And we don't use that because for me, first of all, a lot of it has high fructose corn syrup, which I try to avoid. I just like real natural stuff.
Go ahead.
Right. And it might cost you like $15 for a bottle of maple syrup. So anyway, so Ryan's chicken and waffles came with, it was in the description on the menu, hot, like warm maple syrup. And they have syrup sitting on the table, And so when she came, I was like, okay, I placed my order. I got French toast in the order. And I said, is this like real, is this maple syrup on the table? And she was like, no, this is not maple syrup. If you want maple syrup, I can get maple syrup. He has maple syrup and we serve it warm. And she was like, if you want that, I can get it for you. And she said, but are you sure you want it? Because I don't want you to waste it. This is what she says to me. And I said, yes, I want it. So she brought it. But afterwards, I talked to Ryan about it. And I said, what difference does it make if I'm paying for this food?
For the syrup too.
If I take the syrup and pour it out just pour it in the trash, like, why does it matter to you if I'm paying? Like, that was strange to me. And so what I was going to say is, as a Black person in America, when things like this happen, like your friend said, you don't know if somebody's being an asshole or if you're being racial. Like, I just thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's because we were Black.
That's what I'm saying. So that's when we talk about white privilege a lot. Like I tell them all the time, when you go to the grocery store, this is in College Station, and you in line, and there's a white person behind the cash register, and she being mean, you just like, she an asshole. I have to think, is she being racist or is she
right?
You don't have to think about it.
Exactly. So true. So true. So this is why we carry so much as Black people. This is the Black tax. This is what we have to deal with, these micro and macroaggressions on a daily basis. And we shouldn't have to do the mental gymnastics of trying to figure out, like, why are you asking? And I wasn't rude to her. I just said, yes, I would like for you to bring it, please. Thank you. Yeah. But it's like, are you serious right now? I could have been like, ma'am, if I'm paying for it, I don't care what I do with it. You shouldn't be concerned about what I do with it. I could pour it on the floor, throw it in the trash. It's none of your business. I'm paying for it.
You could have beat her up.
I could have beat her up?
No, beat her up, like using that word with the B. Yeah.
I don't get it.
When I say beat her up, you could have been like, bitch.
Oh.
Use my syrup how I want to use it.
And sometimes that's how you be feeling, because you get tired of that. Like, are you serious right now?
Yeah. Like, did you really ask me that question?
Yeah. Like, do you really want it? Because I don't want you to waste it. I'm paying for it. Like, are you?
And I'm 50 plus years old.
Right. Like, I'm a child, right? Like,
I'm gonna play with it,
Let us move on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna give it up to Denver's income plan for the homeless. What they did was, I think they did it with 1,000 people. They gave $1,000 a month to each one of the homeless people, and within a year's time, they said a great percentage of those folks.
It was 800 people from Colorado.
800 people, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of them got houses, apartments the following year?
That's what that's what they said. They said individuals who received the lump sum or $1,000 a month payments were more likely to find a stable full-time job than before they received the basic income.
Yeah. That's what you need, just a little bit of cash.
Exactly. So yeah, this should, I hope this begins to gain traction throughout.
Yeah, and people have to adopt that program too.
Yes.
Move on.
Somebody pray for me. I've been lied on, backstabbed in the street. Fake love, maybe hate love. You can take it back, I don't need it, yeah. But somebody pray for me. Somebody pray for me. Somebody pray for me. Somebody pray for me. I've been lied on, backstabbed in the street. Fake love, maybe hate love. You can take it back, I don't need it.
So we are going to pray for Willie Mays' family. The superstar, great baseball player Willie Mays passed away at the age of 93. He lived a long time.
Yes.
Long time. It's just like, it's amazing how I looked at, he's almost 40 years older than I was, 38 to be exact. So shouts out to the Say Hey Kid. Probably a lot of people say he's the best baseball player ever because during his time when he first started, like a lot of Major League Baseball players, he had to go into the military, and I think he had to serve 2 years. He winded up with 63 home runs, something like that. And he surely would have broke the 700 mark if he would have played those 2 seasons, healthy. So shout out to Willie Mays. That was sad to hear. I didn't see his career, just like very, very end of it, because he was already older. He started out in the late 40s and 50s, and he played maybe until early 70s. So shout out to Willie Mays. All righty. It's kind of smooth today. Yeah. So we want to wrap up the show first. And we want to say we started off the show with the words of wisdom from Ralph Ellison. If the word has the potency to revive and make us free, it has also the power to blind, imprison, and destroy. What's going on? We did Biden's performance, the Black Greek letter organizations being denounced, Justin Timberlake's DUI or DWI, and Sudan's famine. The talk of the town was Reggie Jackson's comments, which were very potent. The little known Black history fact was Arthur Word's Mitchell Sr. All Hell No went to Saks Fifth Avenue for racially profiling the Wizards general manager, Will Dawkins. We gave it up to the city of Denver for putting together an income program to help out the homeless. And we just send our condolences out to the family of Willie Mays. And as always.
And do you mind if I give his statistics in honor of Willie Mays?
Go ahead.
His batting average was .301. He had 3,293 hits, 660 home runs, 1,909 RBIs, and 339 stolen bases. Amazing.
Incredible. And he missed 2 years in his prime. So
yes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us. And as always, in parting, we wish you love, peace, and knowledge to feed your soul.
To feed your soul. Peace. We will see y'all next week.